Texas versus Ohio State in week 1. Who wins and why?
I think it's a coin toss game, but ultimately I think a few things probably favor Ohio State. One, it's at home, familiar surrounding. I think the horseshoe will be loud and will give Ohio State a home field advantage. But also, you look at the Texas offensive line, I think, is really trying to replace a lot of starters. Ohio State's a little more experienced on the offensive line, and so if you're trying to figure out how this heavyweight prize fight tilts, I mean, I think I'm going to go with the team that probably is a little more secure up front, and right now it feels like Ohio State, especially when you have two really new starting quarterbacks.
I will say this. I think Joey makes some good points. I think it's really critical that Texas went up to Michigan and played that game, and played really well and won that game. And a couple years ago, and they kind of got the feeling of, okay, yeah, this is how it's done, or last year I should say. So I think you look at that. I think they have that idea of what it takes to go on the road and win a big game right out of the gate. I think Texas is going to find a way some way in the fourth quarter. I'm not sure it's going to be so much about Arch Manning as it is going to be about just slowing down the Ohio State offense.
We're looking at week 1 of the college football season. Texas, Ohio State kick off the season with a huge game. 2 favorites to win the national championship this season. Which team has more to prove in week 1?
I think it's Texas. I mean, this has really been the summer of Arch Manning, but there's been so much buzz around him and the expectations for Texas being preseason number 1 team. For Ohio State, this is a relative honeymoon period, and it's not going to last long in Columbus, but coming off a national title, I think an unforgiving fan base is going to be maybe a little more forgiving than usual in week 1, and just the fact that they have a national championship under their belt from last season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think it's the 2 quarterbacks, really. I mean, if I were to tell you that the number 1 and the number 2 team in the nation are playing in the season opener, and both are starting quarterbacks in their first year as a starter, you know, that's a little interesting to say the least. No matter what happens, the winner's going to be hailed as, you know, the next coming, and the loser's going to be hailed as the guy that has got a lot of work to do. And that's kind of unfair to both Arch Manning and Julian Sain, because I think they're both uber talented quarterbacks, and we really shouldn't judge them on this one game, this one very big game.
Looking at it from the Texas perspective, Matt, how do you think the Longhorns can prepare Arch Manning and the rest of the team for an Ohio State defense that they haven't seen yet, don't have very much game film to go off of? How do you manage that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at what Matt Patricia's defenses have done in the NFL, and again, it's like I said earlier, a lot of defense is defense, and you know what you're going to see. It's just a matter of when you see it and how it's mixed. You know, how much zone they play, how much man they play, how much hot stuff they do. So, I mean, you can kind of game plan as much as you can from what he did in the NFL, but until you get to the actual season and the actual games of college football, it's going to be difficult for any opponent to deal with that. And I think it's not just the Ohio State defense. I think it's the Ohio State offense as well, because Texas' defensive front is a lot like Ohio State's, completely rebuilt. So there's a lot going on in that game, more than just the quarterbacks. But unfortunately, that's where we are right now. We all focus on the quarterbacks.